We're not Disney adults. We're just adults that like Disney.
We're not haters. We just have opinions.
We're not cat ladies, but we are childless. We're two entertainment creatives exploring culture at the intersection of fandom and our professional careers.
I'm Kaylin.
I'm Jacob.
And this is The Childless Millennials.
I think I'm a terrible listener.
Oh.
When I'm editing back these videos, there's just so many times where you'll say something that just like totally goes over my head. And then I'm editing it and I'm like, oh! So I'm trying as we start to just take a breath so I can be present and grounded as we record.
Well, nobody starts a podcast because they like to listen. It's because they like to talk. So.
Period. But 2 ears, 1 mouth. should be done. Anyway, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
You made me this lovely little cocktail.
I know. This is the Empress Elderflower Gin. Delish. And
it's very good.
It's very
Empress, if you wanted to sponsor us, that'd be so fun. We'll make the lights pink every time.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to think of like an Aussian word to describe that, like delicious.
The lights are actually the color of Empress Gin.
They totally are. No, I didn't.
The pea flower one and the elderflower one, right? Blue is pea flower.
I didn't know it had a name. I just thought it was
well,
like
it's indigo, but I think what makes it indigo is pea flower. So we have pea flower Empress Gin. For those of you listening to this, just know that our lights are indigo and pink.
Yeah, my friend texted me after the last episode. She was like, "I have no idea what you guys are talking about."
The faces at the end.
Yeah,
yeah, we really missed the mark on that one. Yeah, sorry for our audio only listeners that we failed that one. Oh, also for our audio only listeners, I got bangs. So.
Oh my god! I actually feel like you always just have a different hairstyle that I like. Don't like. Like I just was more noticing that you put it up. And like
it is up. Well, I forgot to take it down, and now there's like a little sprout here. But when I put it up like this earlier, my sister was like, "Oh, you look like Tinkerbell." I was like, "I'm not mad at that."
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm not mad at it.
Totally.
So yeah,
it's totally Tinkerbell.
I cut my bangs the other night, and then at a reasonable time of night, at like 7 o'clock, I cut my bangs. But I didn't text my sister about it until I was going to bed at 2 a.m. So she woke up to a text from me at 2 a.m. that said, I cut my bangs. And she was like, you good, girl? And I was like, no, I didn't cut my bangs at 2 a.m. I cut them in a reasonable time. She was like, I need to see it to determine whether or not it was reasonable.
I think that the guy who made the YouTube channel just reacting to people cutting their hair is like got to be one of the most brilliant.
Are you talking about Brad Mondo?
I don't know his name, but that sounds
Brad
familiar.
Mondo is like one of the most popular because I think he was a hairstylist and he just reacts to people DIYing their hair.
But then he'll say like why you should have done it this way or like for you. Yeah. Genius. That man is a genius.
Yeah. But anyway.
Okay, these fires are crazy. You're fine though.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah, we're okay. We're safe. Like it was weird because there was a point in time where like because we live in the valley. And there was a point in time where like it was coming over the hill into the valley and then like the Eaton fire was coming like the evacuation zones were getting closer to you. So it was like converging on the two of us. Yeah. That was a strange and awful time. And my cortisol levels are shot to shit. But
I'm realizing as we're doing this though, that like I feel like I'm having like the COVID response too of like, there's this horrible thing happening, but I like can't see it or touch it. Mm-hmm. But you see it on social media and stuff and you see the people affected, but like, you just can't like process it.
Conceptualize it. Yeah. I, other than social media, never actually saw any of.
I didn't either. Not
Zach
like in person.
On his way home from work on, what was it, Wednesday night that there was the fire in the Hollywood Hills? Was it Wednesday or Thursday night that it was like Hollywood Hills and there was a fire in Studio City? Zach could see the Hollywood fire like coming over the hill. On his way home from work. And he like didn't tell me until 2 days later. He was like, I didn't want to tell you that I could see it, but I saw it on my way home from work. I was like, that's horrifying.
I guess I did see like the smoke like the first day.
I saw the smoke, but he saw like the orange. Like over the hill.
Flames. Yeah. I told you before we started recording, but like I lived through the 2003 wildfires, which was like just such a wild time, but also like a core memory to me growing up. that like this feels very normal, which
Yeah.
is like I should unpack that.
Yeah. Well,
Trauma
and I had said to you, like, that's kind of how I feel about hurricanes. Like, I lived in Florida.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in Florida. I lived in Florida for nearly 30 years. And so when hurricanes come, yes, they're devastating, but they're just a fact of life in Florida. And it's a little different with hurricanes because, like, meteorologically, is that a word? Is that the word?
I don't know what the word would.
Connor says yes.
Okay.
Ding, ding, ding. Point for me. They're coming, right? Like you know the conditions that are going to create a hurricane.
Yeah.
And like the path of destruction for a hurricane is typically like 20 to 30 miles wide, and you kind of know where it's going to go. So it's just kind of a completely different process, but one that, even though it is a natural disaster, I, in a similar way to you, was very desensitized to, living in Florida for so long.
Right.
And then with this, it was like overwhelmingly terrifying for me because I've never lived somewhere dry like this, where the possibility of like the wind picking up an ember and taking it 10 miles and sparking a new fire is just so wildly unpredictable.
Yeah, this was the first like time I actually like always I was always confused as to how these like fires started, and I really thought that they were just from like power lines sparking or whatever. Like when like static electricity is like really strong and you like see that, you can literally see the
that
spark.
Can start a fire.
Yes.
In these conditions that we've
scuffing a rock can just
friction.
like create like the tiniest little
friction.
spark.
Somebody slamming on their brakes, and it creates that heat, and there's dry brush, and the wind is hotter. Like the Santa Ana winds are hot air that are coming in, and like it was just. It sounds reductive or cliche, but like it really was like the perfect storm. Like it was the perfect environment for this to happen.
The whole thing is just really weird too, because October is wildfire season in California. So
and this is supposed to be rainy season.
Yeah, like it's January.
It's January.
Like, it's the winter.
I moved to LA in 2022 in February. So this will be like my third January essentially in LA, and both other Januaries that I've lived in LA, it's rained like almost the whole month. Like where like the first place I lived, it was like we couldn't even take the dogs outside because our yard was mostly like dirt and clay, so they would just be like covered in mud if we took them outside in the yard. And then the second house that I lived in, which would have been last January, like our street was flooding. Like the gutters couldn't handle the amount of water. There was standing water on the street in front of my house. And to the point where like Zach couldn't even take our street to go to work because his car was too low to the ground. He had to take back roads because our intersection was just so. Yeah. And so it's like, to me, the fact that we're in the polar opposite of like, this is supposed to be rainy season, and instead like everything surrounding the valley is on fire. It's wild.
And people like all the comments of like, because I guess like there was some like hydrants that were out of water, and I'm like, well, if you watched John Oliver like I did, you would know that like we have no water. Like we've literally divided up an amount of water larger than the percentage that is even there.
And like, that's the thing, is like
just no water.
there is water, but it's being used in so many places that the water pressure is not adequate to feed the water to the fire hydrants. So there's no water in the sense that like there's no water pressure coming out of those fire hydrants because 10 times the number of fire hydrants that would normally be used are in use. So it's just depleted at that point. And it's like
2025.
And then there's like a ton of, don't even want to get into that because it's really frustrating. But like all I have to say is that in times like this, social media is a breeding ground for disinformation. And like I just really encourage people to think critically and don't believe every infographic that you see, and go to a vetted source, not your favorite influencer on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know?
I just want to get back to a place where like we don't need information immediately.
Yeah.
I think people like need like the answer so quickly that it's like, I don't know why we can't just be like, we don't know yet.
Yeah. I think the
Like,
type
I don't
of
know why that's
information,
not acceptable anymore.
the type of information that we need immediately is the type of information we were getting on the Watch Duty app, right? Of like, like the real-time updates of like, these are the evacuation zones. These people are on standby. This is where the fire started. This is how big it is now. Like, prepare yourself. Like, that type of information is the type of information people need immediately, because it could be the difference between life or death, right? When there's like literally a fire burning around you everywhere. But when it comes to like these 24-hour news broadcasts of like, there's no update and they don't have anything to talk about, so they just like start speculating maybe, or like, well, let's go to so-and-so who said that they were 12 blocks away from the Hollywood fire. Like, that type of stuff, unfortunately, turns into fear-mongering and playing the same clips of houses burning down over and over and over and over again becomes really triggering for people. And I'm not saying that it's not important for those types of things to be out there in the world so that people know what's going on and, you know, are informed about it. But I think at some point, I mean, sorry to be crass, but like at some point it just becomes trauma porn. And it's just like playing the same things over and over again just to like incite some sort of response from people.
Yeah.
And that feels negative.
On that topic, like we were talking about our like digital cleanliness last week.
Mm-hmm.
When I open Instagram in the morning, the first thing is a news story.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why can't the first thing be like a puppy?
A puppy.
No, you know what I mean? I'm like, it's always like the first, it's like, it's just, I just wish that I want what I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's like really
instead
when
of like an algorithm.
Yes.
Like determining what you should see based on XYZ.
Yes. Like, I am so sick of the algorithm. And I will say, like, that's why I never got on the TikTok train, because like I don't know. Like, I think that there's like a thing where people like to like when the app knows you so well and it's like supposedly like giving you what you want. But like for me, that's like counterintuitive to social media because I like the surprise of it or like the relevancy of it. So like the moment the like algorithm gets me, I'm bored.
I see.
That's why like
you don't like to be called out by the algorithm. Where like I'll open the app and it's like neurodivergent, pansexual girl in California with a nose ring. And I'm like, how did you know?
Yeah, I mean, like when it's right, it's like so right.
Yeah,
but I think like,
sometimes it's like offensively right for me personally, and I'm like, you didn't have to do that.
But like, I mean, it also kind of like, I don't know if this is like really dark, but sometimes it like makes me feel like alone because it's not right. Do you know what I mean? So like, you know, when the join
misses
is really
the mark
good,
so bad.
Yeah, like when it hits the mark, you're like, oh my God, there's other people in the world that like think this is funny. But when it's wrong, I'm like. Like,
oh, you
I
don't
think
even
a big
know
thing
me.
for me is like TikTok. TikTok gives me so much Broadway content because I was on Broadway.
Yeah,
I don't want the Broadway TikTok content.
I see what you mean.
You know what I mean? I'm like, you are wrong. Like, this is not correct. I'm not liking these videos, but I guess it's because I like watch them. But I'm not even hate watching. I think I'm like watching out of like. Just to update myself, I guess, or like, because some of them are my friends, you know what I mean? But like, I am swiping, like I'm not making it through the video.
Yeah. And
then the Disney content that I'm getting is usually so like elementary. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lamp in Walt's apartment that signifies his life. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff that you're like, oh, really? I had no, like the base, you know what I mean? Like the basic stuff. So it's like, where's like, I just want that off. I also think, I'm totally rambling, but I also like to be educated by my algorithm. So like, that's the thing is like, I wish the algorithm was like feeding me like new and exciting like facts.
You want to learn something.
Yeah. I don't just want to be like comforted by what I know.
Well, I would tell you that there's a way to reset your TikTok algorithm, but it's actually not going to matter in 5 days.
Do you really think this is going to happen?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they haven't bought it in all this time. I don't know. I guess I can't say like 100% certain I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I don't know.
The thing
but
that
I don't think I know like 100% for a fact that it's going to happen, but I also am not like delusional enough to be like, it's not going to happen. Somebody's going to buy it. If ByteDance hasn't wanted to sell up until this point to, and nobody has wanted to buy it, like if an agreement hasn't been made 5 days beforehand, I don't know that an agreement will be made. Now, I have heard people speculating that there will be some sort of motion on Inauguration Day from President-elect Donald Trump that will stay the ban. Not completely over, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm drunk. Thank you. Like not completely overrule the ban, but will stay the ban for more time, and then claim success and be able to say, well, Joe Biden was going to ban it, but I'm going to bring it back. I can see a world in which that potentially happens, and I've seen a lot of people online thinking that that's what's going to happen.
I can't believe I didn't just realize until you said earlier that like all it's going to mean is that people will just get VPNs.
Well, that's the theory right now, is that like everybody can get VPNs, but the problem with VPNs is that Americans will no longer be getting content from Americans. So if you like route your VPN,
that sounds like a great idea, though.
Jacob's gonna get a TikTok.
Oh my God! If people on TikTok started getting information from Europe,
so like if you routed your VPN through a European country or through Japan or somewhere like that, you would get in your algorithm content from the location that you're in. So that's like from a creator standpoint, from people who like make their money on TikTok, they're like, well, this doesn't help me because this isn't my target audience. But as a consumer, yes, in theory you could use a VPN to still access TikTok. It would just be international TikTok, not American content.
Yeah.
But I did see today, and I haven't vetted this, so if this is wrong, sorry. A lot of people have been thinking up until this point that like, oh, it just means that like on the 19th you won't be able to download TikTok anymore. But I did see today that somebody had posted that they like their speculation or their thought was that ByteDance, the company that owns TikTok, will actually terminate access to TikTok for Americans.
I think that is correct because you know, when I toured through China, like you still have all of those apps on your phone. Yeah. But like you open it and it just like never loads.
It just doesn't work.
You know what I mean? Because like China has all Meta banned.
Yeah.
I think all Google banned. I think that they worked out something with Apple. But yeah, like the only way to like access Instagram, any of that is with a VPN in China. And so that's what's interesting is they just all have VPNs.
Yeah.
Like that's just the culture there. But oh my God, if that meant I like got really excited. I don't like TikTok.
Jacob wants international TikTok.
I don't like TikTok. I don't know if that is like violently millennial that I don't like TikTok. I find video content like that to just be assaulting.
That's so interesting.
I just like the hey da, 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 is like like it just I don't know why I feel like it's like when you're on it's like when you're walking down the street and it's super windy and you don't have a choice that the wind is like slapping you in the face. That's what I feel like watching TikTok.
I feel like you have only gotten content from millennials on TikTok then.
Possibly.
I hate saying that because I am a millennial, but like
yeah, and I haven't like used the app like a ton, and I don't like follow a ton of people. Like my TikTok is kind of like, but I just there have been some TikToks that have like changed my life though, you know. So no, oh, No, but you know what? I don't know. Re-seeing a TikTok and Instagram. Yeah, that's millennial for sure.
Yeah, like sending somebody an Instagram reel and being like, "Oh my god, this is so funny, you have to see this," and then them responding, "Yeah, I saw that 2 weeks ago on TikTok," which is what I do, is violently millennial.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that it's because like and we're all performing at all times, right? Like this is like acting degree 101, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you take a class, you're like everything is a performance, everybody is performing at all time. So everybody that makes TikToks is performing.
Yeah.
And I just don't want that. Like it's tiring to me.
Yeah, I think
like I'm in the art of performance being a means to reveal a truth, not to be a gimmick. Because I think I've said this before to you. Like I have friends who are like wildly huge on social media and TikTok, and I hate it because I'm like, you are such a more interesting person than like the character
than you appear
on TikTok. So I hate their TikToks because I'm like, that is actually like the McDonald's version of you.
Yeah.
You know? And I just feel like it's all like that.
That's so interesting.
I know.
Because from like, okay, so if you want to talk about like social media culture, like every social media has its own inherent culture, and like people behave and interact with the platform and with other people on the platform differently, right?
Yeah.
So like the way you interact with people on YouTube is completely different than the way you interact with people on Facebook. And without like speaking in hyperbole, like each social media has their own language of sorts. And it's so interesting that you say that, because TikTok is lauded as like the only authentic app.
And it's not.
And what's funny to me is that like I wonder if it is the algorithm that you have been fed that makes you feel that way, or if like that's just your perception of it. Because there are people that I follow on TikTok that I 100% agree with you, that I'm like, yes, this is a performance. And then there are other people where I'm like, wow, you just hit record and said whatever the fuck you wanted. I think that like, to me, Instagram is a highly performative platform, and I say that as someone who like loves Instagram and like I'm chronically online. But to me, and to most people who are involved with social media in any creator or professional capacity, TikTok is like lauded as the authentic platform, and that's why everybody's so upset that it's going away, because they're like, well, I can't be myself on Instagram.
Yeah, see, I just am not buying that. Like, I'm not buying what they're selling, because to me, what I don't like about TikTok, and honestly, a lot of the people that I know that are like really obsessed with TikTok, is that this thing about it being like the authentic app is not self-aware or acknowledging the things that you can do to make it seem authentic, right? Like, even just like having your camera, like, this is so nerdy. Just even filming portrait instead of landscape makes it seem more authentic, because that is like how people would film that like don't know how to use their camera. Like, there was like a whole thing like when like my brothers like sent me this video forever. It was like, turn your phone sideways. You know what I mean? Like, that makes you think it's authentic, or like, I'm just kind of like setting my camera down on the thing. But like, that has become a TikTok aesthetic to convince people it's authentic. So I actually think I also like joined the app too late, because I think if I was there at like the beginning, it would have made more sense to me, like the evolution of it. Yeah. But so I don't like the non-acknowledgement of like, that this is still a performance, but I'm doing these things to fit the aesthetic. Why are you smirking at me?
Because
is this violently millennial?
No, I'm listening to you, but I have a personal anecdote about that's completely relative to what you're saying about like the portrait versus landscape. So, it's no secret that the two of us both come from pretty conservative families, right? So I'm at my family's house. This was, I don't know, last year or the year before, whenever, and we're watching the news. Let me rephrase. The news is on. My back is to the television. Anyway, I'll let you guess what channel it was.
Yeah.
And there was a Republican politician who had submitted a statement, was like actively making a political statement of some sort, and had submitted a video to the news stations, and it was a selfie like this in his office. And I don't remember which of my family members it was.
I know exactly what video this was. Was it a video of him going, how do you expect me to read this 900-page document of Obamacare? Nobody is going to be able to read this, because that video went viral.
I mean, it probably wouldn't have been Obamacare if it was last year.
Oh, this was last year?
Yeah.
Oh,
this was like last year.
I thought this was like
No. This was as recently as last year.
Got it.
So like this is like an official like video. This isn't, something that was posted on social media.
Right.
So as soon like somebody in my family mentioned it and was like, I don't remember what they said, but obviously it was in agreement with the video and was like, see, he just gets it. And I was like, well, you see what he's doing, right? And they were like, well, yeah, like he's talking to the people. And I was like, first and foremost, he's wearing makeup. Let's just talk about that. I was like, do you see the lighting? See that? The ring light?
Yes.
Literally the ring light in his eyes. And he's wearing makeup. So that's a starting point. I said, but he's manufacturing exactly what you were saying. He's manufacturing authenticity.
Yes.
By doing this selfie style video where he's talking to the camera, so it makes him seem more relatable to you as a constituent, because what it feels like to you right now is that he is FaceTiming you.
Right.
I said, you feel like this man is in your home talking to you personally. It's manufactured authenticity. That man does not give a single shit about you.
Right.
Or your tax bracket, or probably what he's even saying. I was like, but in filming it this way, rather than on a professional camera, sitting at his desk, addressing his constituents, somebody on his team is very smart and said, this is what you're going to say, and you're going to hold your phone like this, and we're going to film it, and that's what we're going to send Fox News.
Yeah.
And so 100% to what you're saying, I think it happens, it has become part of the language of social media, and it started with TikTok to manufacture authenticity, because there's this idea that like, oh, we just like set up a phone and started talking. I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing. But that's just like, I will never forget that story, because my family was like, oh.
Right.
Like it didn't change their minds about anything, but it just revealed to them that like, no, we are all being manipulated by these types of things.
But, and like, let me just say, like, for the record, I have no problem with manufacturing authenticity if you admit it.
Call a spade a spade.
Yeah. If you want to do all of that, like, that's totally fine.
Yeah. Like when I make a video and I'm like, I canceled Thanksgiving so I could go see my crush at Disneyland. I know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I'm not lying. I did cancel my Thanksgiving plans so that I could go see the person I have a crush on at Disneyland. None of that statement is false.
Right.
But is it a hook? Is it a manufactured hook that I literally thought about for 3 days as to, okay, I'm going to make this video. I know I'm going to make this video. What's the first thing I'm going to say in the video to keep people watching it?
Yeah.
I absolutely manufactured that. I got 1 million views on it. So
period. Yeah, no, this is in general just like such a really interesting topic to me, because I told Connor, right? So like I'm now, I think I'm coming up on, oh my God, it's like 7 years of my like therapy journey in 2025.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love it. And my like therapist, like bread and butter, is we do this amazing group work.
Yes.
And we always did it in person, but in, COVID, we went virtual, and we are still doing it virtual, and it is amazing, but like nothing can ever beat in person. But like basically like the point of like this group work that we do is to like abandon like the roles that we all play and like let down and get rid of your defenses and all of the little things that you do, and to just like really self-discover, like, who am I without being a brother or a mother or a hero or a whatever, to just like, who am I? And so so much of that work through like the guidance of a leader as effective as my therapist is like, you really just you really feel when people are authentic. Like there is just something about things being real that you really feel very deeply. Even like our friend that was helping us like design our apartment, she's like, there's something about it just like you just know, like you just feel that it's right. And so it's like robbing all of this stuff, TikTok and everything. It's like robbing people of just that feeling you get when things are like really authentic and when you're really truly connected to something. And also, I've just now been trained for 5 years in like really knowing when somebody is authentic and when they're not. So that's what's so hard for me to just watch things, and especially being an actor. Like all I did for 4 years in college was like watch people and be like, do you believe it? No. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, so like that's why the lack of acknowledgement that like it is ultimately still produced content is like, oh, guys.
Yeah.
Like you're doing what we've all been doing for forever.
Yeah.
Like just you have to, like one person I love on TikTok. I mean it's been the same joke for 7,000 videos, but my friend Dylan Nalbandian does the like Disney Channel shows. Be like,
oh, I love those videos. I didn't know that was your friend.
oh yeah, he's from San Diego.
I love those videos.
Oh yeah,
so
he
much.
is because like it is so not serious and it's so like acknowledging the thing.
Yes.
And like the culture and the like whatever, but like that's like he's not pretending that he's serious. Like
right.
He's not convincing us he's serious.
Yes.
Like I like when things are more of a commentary.
There are these two girls and I'm not going to remember their names. Oh.
Caitlin?
What?
This was the video I was referencing earlier.
What?
This was the best video that's ever been on TikTok.
What?
The two girls in the office that wrote their like Disney Channel show.
Oh no, that's not what I was going to say. Sorry.
Sorry. Okay.
But I do love that video.
That video is
hilarious. I love it.
Absolutely
I love it.
Unbelievable.
There are these two girls separate from each other, but like their whole TikTok like creator, like what they do is they do these like skits, but they play all of the characters. And one of them, a lot of her videos are like the girl in the movie who has just found herself. And like it's all a commentary, it's all a parody,
Hilarious.
It's all like very intentionally
yes.
melodramatic. And then there's another one that she has like created this whole universe of people, and there's like a barista and there's like a personal assistant and there's like all these she plays all of them, and like we'll just film these like stories and like they fall in love with each other, and like then these people they're all her, and people in the comments are always like, why do you have so much chemistry with yourself? Like what? But those are the type of creators that I love, because they're taking everyday situations, like meeting a hot barista and not knowing if they're flirting with you or not, right?
Yes.
Like that is a very relatable experience, and she's taking it and like making not a mockery of it, but like amplifying it and making it a parody and playing all these characters. And like the only difference between the customer and the barista is like a backwards hat and a flannel, but like it's like just her. And that's the type of stuff that I love, is when people are able to take something that is a super relatable experience and amplify it in a really creative way. Right. And I think that TikTok was the platform for stuff like that. And what I personally hope is that all of these people who do genuinely create good content on TikTok will just have like a mass exodus to Instagram and change the way Instagram works. Yeah. Like that's truly what I want. Totally. And I also know that like it's like, you know, what do they say? Like out of the something and into the fire. What is that phrase? It's basically like one bad thing to another. Like I know Meta has its issues as well, and like that's whatever. But if we're talking about social media platforms and people having a creative outlet, that's the type of stuff that I hope does migrate to another platform. Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say really quick that
Tell me.
That girl sounds a lot like my favorite person on the internet, which is I Am Tony Talks. Do you follow Tony Talks? Oh my God. Okay, he is like just so stupid.
Okay.
Like so stupid. Like in like the like. But it is that TikTok thing of like, I'm in my house. This is like not produced at all. Like I'm using random objects, but like he does that. He'll do like a girl going to Starbucks, and he's like, "Hi, welcome to Starbucks," and it's
I
like,
know exactly who you're talking about. That's all you had to say. I know exactly who you're talking about.
But what I love is that I like the element of surprise. I never know where these videos are going, and then they just go like into something like so. Like it starts as like, "Hi, welcome to Starbucks," and then like, and then it's like, bang bang, somebody's like dying, and then they like are playing the "That's So Raven" theme song. Like it is like Mad Libs comedy.
Yes.
And
I
like,
love those. There's a girl that does that as well. And like
I need to follow that.
Like there's a girl that does that as well. And like she started in the pandemic and it's just like absolute anarchy nonsense. Like she'll like pull up to a drive-thru and they'll be like, "Hi, welcome to Starbucks. Can I take your order?" And then all of a sudden like milk will start pouring in from her sunroof. And then she like looks back and then she's outside of the car. Like look, it's just insane.
Yeah, yeah. And
I love that kind of stuff.
I feel like they're in on the like.
They're in on the joke.
Yes.
They're in on the joke.
Yes.
This is actually a perfect segue because we are two millennials talking about criticizing TikTok. And TikTok is actually responsible for revealing a lot of millennial behavior.
Oh, is it?
So it's time for Violently Millennial TikTok edition.
Okay.
R.I.P.
Will I know these? I don't
You
use
will.
the app.
You will.
Okay.
R.I.P. my girl. R.I.P. my girl TikTok. Okay. These are things that I dead ass thought you were about to sing the song from Star Wars.
What is that?
I think it's Luke's theme. That's dead ass what I thought you were going to do.
I've like not seen Star Wars.
I know. I don't know why I thought that.
Oh my god! No, I was singing taps.
Yeah, that's. I don't know why I thought that because I know you've never seen Star Wars. Brain rot. Okay, that's it right here. Star Wars brain rot. Okay. These are some things that I personally feel like TikTok revealed to the collective consciousness as being violently millennial.
Okay.
We're going to start off soft.
Okay.
The concept of millennial gray. Have you heard of this?
Millennial gray?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, like, think about you walk into someone's apartment and, like, the floors are, like, that gray faux wood tile and the cabinets are gray and the walls are all painted white and everything is just different shades of like
millennial thing. No, it's not.
Yeah, TikTok says so.
I am out. Oh my god, I am outrageously guilty of.
We know quite a few people that actually every apartment that I have lived in the past 7 years. And even one of the houses that I lived in Orlando, like that, it became like a staple of like rental properties, which I actually think is why it's considered millennial. Because you think we can afford houses? Absolutely fucking not. And it's a blank canvas that the aesthetic became really popular for rentals. And I actually think personally that that's why millennials are like given flack for it. But it has been a conscious effort for me to like take these places and not make them millennial gray.
I'm feeling so defensive, like in my gut, because I feel that we cannot talk about millennial gray without talking about boomer smoker teeth yellow. Because do you want to know why millennial gray exists?
Because the walls were yellow from smokers?
Because our walls were yellow growing up. My parents' house to this day is like...
I'm putting this on TikTok before it goes away.
You need to tell us the house you were in.
Is like, oh my god, yeah. My parents' house to this day is like smoker's teeth, like off-white.
Did your parents smoke?
No.
Oh,
but
you
this
just
was
moved
like
in.
this was it. It's not just them. Like we live in tract homes,
Oh.
but like they didn't paint the walls white.
I
It was
see.
like that brownish yellow smoker's teeth white.
I see what you're saying.
So I was saying smoker's teeth yellow, whatever.
Yeah.
And so that is that color you can't do anything with. That mixed with, this was, we grew up with the boomers pre-fluorescent cool white. I couldn't say Alexa cool white. You know, literally like all my lights are hue white gradient, and they are scheduled on my app to be white during the day and then just the touch of yellow at night. Because like literally growing up, it was like you could swim through the incandescent yellow everywhere. It was disgusting. So then we finally wisened up when we went to college and we were like, fuck this white shit or this yellow, like, and we were like, we're painting the walls. And we went in the opposite direction. The pendulum swung and we didn't paint our walls white. We painted them gray. And I thought we really did that. I painted all of my walls a light gray in New York. You know, that's what I did.
Knock a thing off?
No, it already was off.
Oh, I was like, ah!
You know, that's actually what I did the day of my Broadway debut. I was painting my apartment millennial gray.
Millennial gray. Period.
Because I don't know why. I think I was trying to humble myself. I was like, it's just another day. So I'm gonna paint my apartment.
It's just another
I'm
day.
humble. I'm just like the people.
I'm just like you.
But okay, so the story that Connor wants me to tell, which I will not say, this is not like a boomer smoker teeth white or smoker teeth yellow. Is it smoker teeth white or yellow?
Yes.
The color should just be called smoker teeth. Yeah. Anyway,
Smoker
so
teeth.
we're looking for an apartment, and we got, you know, like we went through such a journey of like, oh, apartments are expensive. Why don't we just rent a house? That's where we were at in this journey. So we like find this house in Pasadena, so cute. And so we like went to go look at it. I don't think there were a lot of pictures actually, but it was in like a great location. And we walk in, and every wall is yellow.
Oh.
And not like
yellow.
let the sunshine, like Playbill banner yellow.
Wow.
But yellow.
Lello.
Also the Playbill banner yellow, that was violently Broadway.
That was violently Broadway. Yes, it was.
And I
Violently theater kid.
Violently theater kid. And I
Spinoff segment.
I did. And I said to the suite, I mean, they were so sweet. It was actually their family home that they kind of like move out and like rent, and I don't know exactly like what the situation was, but I was like, oh, can I like would you be okay if when we moved in if we painted the house? And she was like, oh, we just painted. And I said, yeah, can we paint the house?
It was on purpose. The yellow was on purpose.
Yeah, but she literally just painted it.
Yeah.
And I was like, why would you paint every color in this house yellow?
Wow.
And I always want to have like a chat with these people and just be like, you have an amazing property. Do you know how much easier it would be for you to get somebody in here
if the walls are
painted
white?
This white.
White.
Just paint it white.
Just paint it white. That's it.
Literally,
or
when I moved into
millennial gray. To humble you.
Yes. No, I literally this is how passionate I am about millennial gray. I'm sorry. I did not know this is violently millennial.
I didn't either.
Gonna take long.
I thought I was starting with like a softball.
No.
And here 10 minutes later.
I felt very defensive of my millennial gray. When I moved into my second apartment in New York and I walked in, it was like a dream apartment. It was like 2 stories. It was crazy. So I was like, I need this immediately. So it was all happening very quickly. And then she was like, yeah, I'm going to paint the whole place before you move in. And I was like, oh, great. And then I was like, well, wait a minute. What color? Because the living room was like a pastel green.
Okay.
Something
a
that,
choice.
If you've ever seen anything I own, nothing I own goes
No.
with pastel green. And I literally was like, wait.
What
Before
color?
you paint, can I please buy some paint? I was like, I will buy the paint and I'll give it to you. And then you can just have the person do it. She's like, well, we already painted the living room, but I guess you can do the upstairs. What do you think I painted the upstairs? Millennial
gray.
And then she walked in and she was like, oh, yeah, this looks really good. And I was like, I know. It looks so much better than the
green. Oh my God. I didn't know that was gonna be so intense
really
for you. I'm
triggered
really
something
sorry.
in me. My duvet cover is millennial gray. Apparently, I
But
love
here's
gray.
like it's not the loving gray. Like that's not a problem. It's I think the millennial gray has become this like pervasive kind of allegory for just like the removal of character and personality from spaces. I think that's more so, which I don't feel that you do. Like, I mean, I've been in your home. Like, I think that even though you utilize a more neutral color palette, like your home still feels like it has character.
No, I actually just think it's a really interesting study on like color theory.
Yeah.
Because like everything we had growing up was warm.
Yeah.
It was that like wood, like that like orangey wood that like, you know, was like with the brass handles, the smoker's teeth yellow walls, the incandescent lights, like everything was just yellow. And like, so then we went in the complete other direction. Do you know how big of a deal it was for me to get a couch that was not in the millennial gray palette? This has actually been so
It's a
hard
big deal.
for me.
It's a big deal.
Yes.
Yeah. That's so funny. Okay,
Okay.
let's move on. I feel like we could do a whole episode
Literally, I had no
on
idea. it was a
Jacob's
thing.
opinion on millennial gray. Okay, number 2. Making an account for your dog as your dog is violently millennial. Bonus. Oh, I know. Bonus violence points if you say things like my parents.
Okay, I don't like parents, but I love humans. I love
Humans.
my humans. I don't know why. I love my humans. HOOMANS.
Human.
Yeah. So this is hilarious too. This is really targeted towards me.
This should just be called Violently Millennial Jacob Edition.
Because I literally, because Oreo has an Instagram, but he was very like, it was very passive and like silly and like whatever. But
You are a star
Oh,
on
no,
Oreo's Instagram.
I had Oreo like taking.
Give me the password.
Yeah.
No,
I
I said
know.
I need the password, and like Oreo, like for a while, it was like she was like taking selfies, and then she was like posting. It was like
That is violently millennial.
What's on the scale?
That. That is the Mike Tyson Jake Paul boxing fight
is it
level
really?
of violently millennial.
So who's not doing that? Gen Z.
I mean, there are a lot of pet accounts, but it's just like, this is Maui, my dog.
Oh, but like acting.
But like,
they're-
what makes it violently millennial is like acting as your pet, like in the.
yeah,
Oh,
no.
I know.
I
Like
comment as
in
Oreo,
the bio,
I
it's
comment
like
to
this
Oreo.
account is run by my parents, and I love my sisters with
See,
the other 2 dogs' names.
You know why? You know why we're doing that?
Because we don't have fucking kids.
Correct.
Period.
Because yes, but I was gonna say, this is what happens when you raise a culture on fucking Tamagotchis and Furbies. Hello. This is my
Very
real life
true.
Tamagotchi. Her name is Oreo, and
Her
she's a
name
little
is
baby
Oreo.
angel.
She's a baby. I love her.
And she will comment on my Instagram post saying, "Where are you?"
I've actually
Oreo doesn't comment on my Instagram posts, and I
She
think
will.
that's
I
sus.
actually like. I'm sometimes upset that I like don't have more time to dedicate to my like alter ego, like as Oreo.
Oreo is your alter ego.
love
Okay.
pretending I'm Oreo.
So
All right, hit me.
go. I will say this one I have not experienced you doing.
Okay.
So hopefully this one isn't
Okay.
super triggering for
Okay.
Jacob. The millennial pause.
Pause.
Do you know what the millennial pause is?
like more than just pause something bad?
No, not that. That was violently theater kid.
Giving pause to anyone with pause something.
Great lyric, by the way.
Phenomenal lyric. Like, so good.
I think it's so good. I think some people would argue it's on the nose,
I don't care.
but
Anyway,
The snout.
or the snout. The millennial pause was identified to us millennials via TikTok because millennials have a tendency to do this thing where they hit record on their phone and then they wait to make sure it's recording before they start talking. So it creates a pause between when the video starts and when you start talking. And it is, according to the collective TikTokers, it is like the number one trademark of a millennial. Or one of the top
You know
trademarks of
what?
millennials.
Is it hurting anyone?
No, but
Is
they're
it? What's
they
the
like to make fun of
problem?
us. So they're
How
the thing is
waiting for it to be? Is it like?
the thing is that we come from a different era of technology where like millennials, especially millennials our age, grew up with like the beginnings of this type of technology. So like we didn't have like our technology was not as reliable as things are now. So like there was a world in which you would like press a button and then wait for it to start recording. There was a time, like there was a gap there. That doesn't exist anymore because
Yeah, but
like
you
our
need
phones,
a couple seconds for the cross dissolve you're going to use to fade in.
I'm screaming. That's aggressive. To add in the fade in from
Tell me
black.
you've never made a self-tape without telling me you've never made a self-tape.
To add in the fade in from black.
Yes.
You need a couple seconds.
Oh my God, are my self-tapes violently millennial?
Violently theater kid.
My like cross dissolve to black for 1 second and then fade in.
I'm dead. I didn't know you could do that. I do mine all in one take. That's scary. Yikes.
You do your self-tapes in one take?
That's what I did today. Like I did my slate and my side like all in one take. I didn't like.
Oh.
Am I not supposed to do that?
No.
Make it easier on yourself.
No, you're just making your life so hard.
Oh yeah. Maybe?
Actually, for just so you know, for TV film, so they usually like they upload everything separate.
Oh.
So there's like slate, take 1, take 2.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the more you know. Yeah, millennial pause. And that's specifically for social media. Is like you hit record and then you wait. And honestly, like as someone who in stories, in actual like in feed posts, like whatever, and like as someone who's like worked in social media, I have to tell you, it drives me insane when people don't edit that out. Like if the first like second of your video is you just, hey, like that,
Hilarious.
immediate swipe gives me the ick. Can't
But
do
I
it.
don't do this, you said?
You don't do that. This last one, however, I did put this on the list specifically because of your stories that you posted today.
The last one?
This last
Is it
one.
starting your story with so?
No.
Oh. Wait,
It's-
before we move on, I was
Okay,
just going
okay,
to say
okay.
really quick that I will say the millennial pause. Again, I'm just taking it back to the boomers. One of my like favorite things of all my home videos growing up, and I don't know if other people's moms did this. I genuinely think it's so sweet. When my mom would film us as a kid, it'd be like 1, 2, and then she would go, "Today is January 5th, 1994. We are at Soak City, California." Like she would like
That's
give the
so
recap.
cute.
It is so
Stop.
cute. It is so.
She was doing like voiceover videos before
Yes,
like
but
social
also
media was a thing.
But because like you wouldn't know like otherwise.
Yeah.
Like there's no location services.
Yeah.
There's no. I don't even know. Well, I think there was like a timestamp, but you know, like unless you programmed
Yeah.
that like correctly, it might
Yeah,
be off.
it might be off.
And like that was her way of like indexing our home videos.
That's so funny.
It is so.
That's
cute.
adorable.
I know.
I
it's
love that.
Totally adorable.
This is specifically relative to your stories that you posted today.
Okay.
It's the millennial Zoom.
No, is that millennial?
It's very millennial.
Really?
Connor is shook.
Okay, but the millennial Zoom is
it's
I.
the
TikTok.
no.
The millennial Zoom is
When you're
iconic.
talking and then you swipe, up
swipe up
to zoom in and then you violently millennial.
So Gen
Z does not do that.
What do they do instead?
No. They either like won't zoom or they'll add the zooms in the edit. So like they'll like clip and zoom in on it and then zoom out. But like actually using like the swipe up to zoom for emphasis, like specifically using that zoom for emphasis, like the swipe up zoom, is violently millennial.
Oh, I will defend that to my death because I love when people do that.
Yeah.
And I love doing
Yeah.
it.
It's just millennial. Like there's nothing wrong. It's
Well, I
not like
also
the wrong
love like
way
when
to do
people
things.
do it
It's
because
just,
I love when people comment on it and then they zoom in like so far, like that it's like out of focus. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Like,
I love when I'm, and this is violently millennial of me to say, I love when I'm using the big mouth Snapchat filter because it's my favorite one, and I zoom in so far that the filter goes away, and then I zoom back out, and the filter pops back up again.
So good.
I love that. I personally think that's hilarious and will not be stopping that at all. I did stop the millennial pause. I don't do that anymore. Only because A, I trust my phone that it's recording, and B, it's more work for me when I'm editing to have to like edit out pauses. But the zoom, and specifically the zoom with the big mouth filter, is not something I'm taking off my roster in any way, shape, or form.
See, okay, on the topic of the millennial pause, like
We're going back.
I
We're
just
circling back. He can't let it go.
No,
Don't let him get started on the gray again, guys. We're already at 58 minutes.
No, because like I just like need to like have a conversation with the Gen Z people that like do the like I'm making a video and now I'm almost done, and then ending the video before you've said the last consonant. Like that is just that's not authentic. Like you're not fooling us. We know that you intentionally cut the video off at that last consonant, like for like a comedic little like, but like this is like comedic timing musicality 101. You did not invent that.
No.
Like we've been doing stuff like that for a while. So like you can come for my millennial pause. I will come for you for your Gen Z. I'm cutting off my video before I've said the last word to make it seem like, oh my God, it's so authentic. I just like, but who do these people think they are, Brittany Bateman? I don't know how to use my phone. No, look, if you press this button, oh my gosh, I don't know.
I'm so sorry. I have to ask, who are you arguing with? Because our show is called The Childless Millennials, and we have exactly one Gen Z listener, and his name is Kaven, and he's my friend. So like, I don't know.
I just want to empower the millennials out there that are being bullied. I don't like being bullied.
Violently Millennial is not meant to be a bullying segment.
I know.
I apologize.
I feel very attacked.
I apologize that I ruffled your feathers. That was not my intention. But impact is more important than intent.
You know
so
what?
I
Honestly,
apologize.
Honestly, clearly, this is why I don't use TikTok. Because when I am called out, I don't react well. Like when TikTok's like, are you blah, blah, blah? I'm like,
Fuck you. Maybe I am. So what?
I almost went down on TikTok like a mental health like thing, and that was like the closest I feel the algorithm. Like it somebody made like Christmas string lights out of their like used Zoloft medication, and I was like, that is hilarious.
I saw somebody the other day posted that they had like bedazzled their like medication bottles, and they were this particular woman was a Taylor Swift fan, and so she had made it look like a friendship bracelet on the front, and it said "All Too Well Butrin," like the Taylor Swift song "All Too Well."
That's funny.
And I was like, this is the content we deserve.
That is so
yeah,
funny.
it was great. It was great.
Yeah.
Well, apparently this episode just turned into this is our farewell to TikTok. Play the graduation song. As we go on, we remember. That's all we can do. Otherwise, we'll get a license. Did I sing at my graduation?
Yeah.
Like as a soloist?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Oh, bitch, I wrote original songs for all my graduations.
Oh.
I sang I Hope You Dance at my graduation with
That's violently millennial.
I knew you were going to say that.
That's violently millennial, violently homosexual, violently theater kid.
Oh my God.
I hope you have.
Literally. With like Yeah.
I'm dead.
It's amazing.
I'm dead.
All right. Well, see you on TikTok. Never.
Never. Farewell to TikTok. We will remember you fondly, even though we've never posted a single Childless Millennials video on TikTok.
I know. What are
I'm
we
doing
doing
a great job as our social media manager. I will say, like TikTok getting banned, IG's poppin'. I will say, I can now use TikTok getting banned as like a retroactive excuse for why I never put more time and effort into TikTok. Because now and forevermore, I can always just say, well, I knew that it wasn't going to last. So
period.
Bye.
And that's
why waste my time? Period.
All right. Well, stay safe if you're in LA, everyone.
Yes, please. And RIP to your TikToks.
Yeah.
If you have favorite creators, I will say, as someone who loves to create content, obviously this is creating content here and now. If you do have creators that you love on TikTok, Jacob does not. He hates all of them. If you do have creators that you love on TikTok, try to find them on other platforms. That can be really helpful for them if they choose to move to Instagram or YouTube or something like that for their short form video posts. Make sure you follow them there because that's super helpful for creators. And other than that, we'll see you.
Follow us. Follow Oreo.
Oreo needs to start commenting on the Childless Millennials, okay?
Yeah.
Oreo never comments on the things I post there. And
she's like, dogs used to be able to talk.
Everybody who's like, why were the animals behind the stone in shiz when the stone broke? And Oreo's like, because animals used to be in charge, bitch.
If one more person comments on our video about Madame Morrible making the twister,
I'm gonna lose it, Jacob.
I'm gonna lose it.
I'm gonna lose it.
I'm gonna go crazy.
And that's the cross dissolved at the end. Bye! The Childless Millennials is a podcast hosted by Jacob Heron and Kaylin Kelly. The show is produced by Connor Warren Smith with music by Connor Warren Smith.